we are honest, we will tell you the truth. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm Meko Komunda, a mother of 4 girls and 3 boys. I thank the presenters very much, and probably to identify with one of the presenters, Edmond, as my OG from Senior 1 to Senior 4. I'm happy to see you go through those stages. Now, my question is to Professor Mike Chugozi. You talked about weak points, and I was getting excited about that, and then you switched on to something else. Those weak points, I'm sure, as ladies, we know we have them, but I wanted to know a little more about getting out of those weak points, or turning them to get to be a stronger person. Because you may get to know the weak points, but then you lie in there, you don't get out and overcome them. So I really thank you. Maybe to add on a little that a girl child and the boys need time, especially from the parents. For us in our family, every evening we have topical discussions, and it has brought us together as a team. We get a topic, talk about it, and we give each one a chance. We give each one a chance to chair the discussion, give each one a chance to contribute, and we normally take about at least 1 hour. It has brought us together as a family to work and to think as a team. Thank you very much.
Thank you. 2 more questions, and I'll close the session. This side.
I think my question cuts across all the presenters on the theme of particularly the word male's work. Except for other countries, I sincerely believe that Uganda, under all aspects, is not a male's world. Particularly in relation to the existing regulations in place that are almost favoring women at all levels. For example, at education, women have got cut-off points, which we even believe that we are being discriminated as men. In political representations, women have been reserved with so many political seats, which in other words, if these opportunities are not being exploited at the moment, we feel that we shall also be bargaining on the other side that you are even more. This is now more of a female's world than a male's world. It is the same experience and opportunities that women actually have in this country. Even in regard to the work environment, it is not easy for in a country in Uganda to compete with a woman for a position of any position when you have actually given equal qualifications. A woman will always be favored because some people or organizations think that it is convenient to work with a woman other than what. So I feel that there are even more opportunities that you may not be knowing that we are working clandestinely to have some of these eliminated. Thank you.
Excuse me. I would like to give the opportunity to a lady. She had put up her hand.
Emoru. Mine is just to request the forum to include the businesswoman, not only the corporate woman, and also just the way Professor Margaret said that sisterhood is very important. The corporate woman should come out and support the businesswoman, especially when it comes to issues of the bank. We really need your help there. And also I would also like to thank in a special way Madam Grace Akulo. I am Emoru. I think you're very much familiar with that name. I really thank you so much for the support you gave to me. You supported my husband so much in the investigations. As a woman, I think you understand what you go through when your husband is on that investigation list. It was a hard time, but you supported us in a way during those investigations, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm told the gentleman had touched the mic, and since the next person was giving a vote of thanks, I'll give him just 1 minute.
But we are seeing now women overtaking seriously, and we wanted a fair competition. Because when Madam Akuro, she was submitting to us, and when she was submitting, she said that even she has delegated her duties, her obligations in the home to the husband, even in taking a kid to the immunization. So we are saying that now, soonest the plight and the right of a man is gone. So we better raise up, you come and help us to claim our dignity and law, and don't use these positions to suffocate our rights too.
Thank you so much. What he talked about is what we call striking a healthy balance between work, family, and life priorities. So if we are trying to take advantage of the goodwill of a willing husband, then it is really, really bad on our side. However much we fight to be on top, there's one thing we have to know, that when it gets back to the home, I'm an MD. If I get back to the home, I'm not an MD. But what we are saying, we should not be suffocated, or we should not be looked at in a negative way because of the roles we are trying to push forward. The gentleman who is fearing that men are taking over, women are taking over. I want to tell you that worldwide, there is a research that was taken, and it's only 10% of the businesses that have female CEOs. So we are trying to rise there. We haven't taken over. But our prayer is that we take over, because this world, we make this world a better place. Thank you.
Thank you. Ask Professor Chigozie to quickly touch on the weakness that she did not touch on in detail.
I thought I had survived that one, not having to share it. One of my weaknesses is I'm a very big picture person, a strategic thinker, and I always forget the details. But so you asked also what is the solution, is to work with those people who are detail-oriented. So where I forgot to send a thank you card, somebody has it in front of me and I just have to sign it. So that for me is a big weakness. And to diarize, write everything down that needs to be done. Otherwise, those small things, for me, I will definitely have forgotten. The other weakness I have is I get attached to my people. So I have my staff. I really get attached to them, so when they do something wrong, I find it very hard to fire them, to penalize them, and sometimes it's required that you do that. Same thing, my house girl, I've had her for 25 years. And yes, I leave my kids, my grandkids with her. I'm very, very safe. But then how do you treat your house girl? Would she stay with you for, some of you keep them for 2 months, and you are quarreling and you are fighting. You are leaving your most precious belonging, which is your child, with somebody you just quarreled with. Not sensible. So treat your house girl well, and you keep her. So those are some. I have many weaknesses. I think I'll stop there.
Okay. Just on the business women, there was a question on business women. There are many opportunities right now. Banks are looking at the women, many things available for the business women. Also, when the professor was presenting, she talked about calling the women out there to come to UIA then. and few came. Later on, the majority came. So let us take up the opportunities available for the businesswoman. The cut-off points has been addressed by Ezaga, and with that, I would like to thank you for your attention, and I particularly want to thank the panelists for their presentations that have really helped us during this time that we've been together. We've overshot our time. We apologize for that, and thank you again.
Thank you very much, Session Manager. And I'd like to thank the panelists, the powerful women that have spoken to us this morning. I request, without wasting a lot of time, we have a little token to say thank you. Please bring them forward. And to give out this token, I request Miss Viola Mbanga to come and pass them on. And these portraits are portraits of various leaders that have made an impact in the world. And I'm requesting that you hand over this portrait, Professor. The portrait of Mother Teresa. This one is of Kwame Nkrumah. Thank you very much. And this one is for Mahatma Gandhi from India. And one from Nelson Mandela, South Africa. And last but not least, the session chair, Martin Luther King Jr. Maybe if I could just take a chance to read this one. If you cannot fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Ladies, let's move forward. Thank you very much.
And I'm chairing a youth discussion panel. And the discussion is all about youth. I'll be introducing one by one as they'll be going for presentations. Dear members, you're welcome to this session. And you're aware, youth according to the United Nations definition are people between the age of 15 and 24 of age. However, each region, including Uganda, have their own specific definition of a youth. And 87% of the youth in the world live in developing countries. 62% of these live in Asia and 17% live in Africa. With 28% of its population ranging from 12 to 24 years, the sub-Saharan Africa is the most youthful region in the world. The challenges and opportunities facing the young people vary widely by country, gender, age, educational levels, ethnicity, and health status, to mention but a few. Uganda has the world's largest population, over 78% of its population below the age of 30, and the country has one of the highest youth unemployment rates in the sub-Saharan Africa. Although Uganda is making strides economically, it finds significant challenges in meeting its youth people's needs today and their challenges tomorrow, as its population continues to grow at the rate of 3.2% annually. As members of the society, youth deserve full access to education, adequate health care, employment, financial services, and participate in public life. Recognition of their unique perspectives and contributions must be taken into account in order for youth to fully realize their potential and for government to fulfill human rights obligations and democratic principles. Youth are not merely passive beneficiaries, but effective agents of change
who often lead by example and employ innovative solutions to complex solutions. They are creative, dedicated, passionate, energetic, resourceful, capable, to mention but a few. So, members, without wasting a lot of time, I'd love to introduce Miss Barbara Kemigisa, right? Kulaigye. She's a youth activist, and she's going to give us what she has about the youth having a right to their parents' love and guidance. I can see here 5 minutes testimony. Will those minutes be enough for you? Okay, right. Can you please put our hands together to welcome Barbara?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Barbara Kemigisa, a youth activist, majoring in HIV and AIDS. And yeah, I won't go back into those things, the details of me, as I think I've shared much about it. But here to speak about young people, the youth having I'm honored to talk about with the youth having a right to parental love and guidance. I'm here to testify that due to lack of parental love, so many things can happen to us, the young people. For example, I would say from the personal basis that having gone through sexual abuses at the age of 6, from uncles, later on growing up not knowing what sex is all about, living a life of addiction sexually, wasn't because it was born in me, but this is because I did not have someone to tell me what was right from the beginning. So those are just a few things that can happen to children. But I'd love to speak to parents. I'm a parent, I'm a mother of one, and I want to say I'm not going to let the mistakes that my parents have done to suffocate my daughter or to affect my daughter in one way or another. So to parents here, especially to mothers, we have these children when there are so many things in our lives. Most of us are not intended children. Something happens and you happen to get pregnant, you cannot abort this child. Sometimes your parents want you to have a child when you're wedded, and you have this child when you're not wedded. You have so many pressures. I feel now is not the time for this child to suffer the pain of everything you've gone through. Children are innocent. I believe I was innocent right from the time my mom and dad decided to make me. So whether they separated, whatever happens, it's not my concern. To me, I'm supposed to receive every good thing a child is supposed to receive. Now this goes to you, whether you're a stepmother or you're a mother, like biologically, to this child. The moment you choose to be a mother to this child, boy or girl, you're supposed to give them their full deserved love. They have every right to hear from you like every day. You know, we put work above everything else. But I feel work is destroying most of the families. You're so like, children don't know who you are, and you don't even know who your children are. But what you say is, okay, I'm going, I have a daughter, but she doesn't even know where you go to work. It puts a gap between you and the children. So as a victim, I'd love to say we still can do something to make our families better. Mothers, we are the people who can actually make this come to reality. We are the people who can enable these men to be supported in our home. And that will depend on how we handle our husbands. That will, even if you're a step parent to this girl, I want to give you an example. I went to senior one. I did not know how to use a DO. I never used to get DOs. But then other children would get in primary. I was like, okay, but my stepmom would have chosen to tell me about that. My other siblings, younger than me, would take pocket money of something like 40,000 to school. I'll go with only 10,000 to school. That was kind of discrimination in the home because I wasn't a biological child. So that meant like I wasn't equal in any way. I wasn't competent enough. It kind of pulled me down in almost everything I had to do. So we don't want, remember whatever we do to these children, that's what they're going to do to their children, your grandchildren. So I feel it's high time we look at whatever impact we are making to these children's life, whether negative or positive. I'm glad I'm not where I was then, but trust me, if I had to keep where I was, I would be living a miserable life right now. So we may not all get, your kids may not get the opportunity I had to change for better. I think my life has been taken to a certain direction that I happened to come out of wherever I was. So look at everything you're doing right now and look at what is most important. We need to prioritize in the lives of our children. If we want our children to stay, I'm proud that my mom is my hero, not my neighbor, not my teacher, not my pastor, but they'll say my mom is my hero, my dad is my hero. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Without wasting a lot of time, I'd love to introduce Miss Acaq Pasquine, the Guild President of Mackay University Business School, the first female Guild President. She's going to give us what she has about, it's all about challenges faced by the youth in the university. So welcome, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, the chairperson to the panel. A very good afternoon to you all, ladies and gentlemen, in your different capacities. I do believe, because we have had ladies here in the morning and they've told us they've been the first people and they've made it, and I do believe I will also make it there. Today our theme is empowering the youth to lead the future, and particularly I'll be talking about the challenges faced by the youth in universities. First, when we talk about empowering the youth to lead the future, I am so glad to mention that I am already in the process of being mentored and empowered to lead the future. And that is what we all wish for our young people of this generation. I'll go straight and talk about the challenges. First, the issues of personal financing. When people come to university, they are very excited about everything. However, one thing that they do not know is managing their finances. Now, when someone steps into college, the first day we will have the trade bazaar, we are going to have this and this, and they do not know how to control their monies. Someone is going to make all the shopping around the trade bazaar and the money gets done within the first 1 month. Then the next 3 months, it will just be total hassle for them. And that is how they start facing challenges right from the very first year, first semester. And the next is accommodation. That is the hostels. If we all notice and take keen interest, it's very challenging for most of these students to find accommodation within and even far away from the university itself. Most of us come to university and then we have to start pacing around looking for hostels and all those kinds of things. And around Makerere University particularly, there are very few hostels. And if you really need a good hostel, you need to have a lot of money. You need to have around, a good hostel ranges from around 600 to 800,000, which is a bit costly to our people, and they find that challenging. Not only will you have to incur the high cost, but you also have to look around so much in order for you to find the hostels themselves. The next I would like to bring on board is peer pressure. You know, young people are very enthusiastic about life, and every one of us would love to have friends, if I may say. But when people come to university, they're going to make sure they get friends. They associate with certain people that maybe are of their caliber. Now you will come, you're going to get friends, and you want to associate yourself with what your friends are doing. However, certain things that your friends are doing may not necessarily be right. But because you want to fit within a certain group setting, you have to be forced to do some of the things that your friends are doing. So that is what I call peer pressure. Bandwagon, you go by what your friends have to tell you or what they have to do. The next challenge that we do face as university students, as youth at the university, is the problem of health and sanitation. I am going to speak generally, not only at Makerere University Business School, but at all campuses, at all universities. Most of the hostels, the sanitation down there is very alarming. If you move down to Small Gate, particularly at Makerere University Business School, I'm amazed that someone is laughing because they know what goes down there. You know, you just wake up one morning and the drainage system is so bad, there's just dirty water flowing at your door, and that is the kind of life that people live at university. Now, when we talk about health, our health facilities are not really very good. Even when you go to the halls, certain times the places we stay in, they're not very clean. Let's say the toilet facilities, they're not to standard. So most of the times you get girls getting urinary tract infections. You find yourself attracting diseases that you did not really have in the very first, in the beginning. And so they go about stressing with all these kind of diseases, especially for the ladies. If the health is not very good, trust me, it's a challenge for us. The next is lack of proper mentorship. You know, the university is a place of freedom of doing everything you want, and you will not really get any particular person that is telling you, you need to lead your life this way, you need to do this and this in order to get this, you know, such kind of mentorship. As in, it's a free environment, you do what you choose to. But that is not right. Apparently, the youth need to be guided, they need to be mentored, they need to get somebody, like when you come to first year, you need to get someone that you look up to, someone that is going to instill into you some good principles that are going to help you move on at the university. Then the next is communication gap. Yes, at university we are believed to be mature people. So when we come to university, everyone expects you to read every poster that you come across, to go to internet and look for information, to do this, to do that. But however, this is not the case. The communication is still a challenge, especially between the staff and the students, between the students' guild and the members, they lead themselves. So most of the times you find out if there is a coursework or a test or something, people are going to end up missing the test just because they are not aware of the dates, just because they don't concern themselves so much with reading the posters that we talk about. You know, posters are not really a very good way of communicating. Like for the students that come at night for night lectures, someone comes from work, they're already stressed up, they're not going to bother looking at a poster, they're late for lecture, they're simply rushing to have the lecture go on and they finish and leave. So they will not get that much attention to the poster that we use. So communication is still a big challenge to most of the youth at the university. And then the next challenge is managing relationships. You know, when you're at the university, of course, this is the time that people want to reach out, you know, start getting girlfriends, boyfriends. Yes, it's right. Okay, like we feel it's the right age for us to do that. And I do second that man is a relational creature. We have to do that. At a moment in time, you need to, it's encourageable. But however, what I would want to say is, managing relationships need a lot of time, your effort. Generally, you need to input a lot. Now, most of the people, especially the ladies, when a relationship works out for them, it is very good, it's very well and good. But however, even when the relationship works, you need a lot of time to invest. And then secondly, when the relationship does not work, emotionally, the ladies are always very much tortured, in that someone is going to be so withdrawn from what has brought them to the university and simply will think about the relationship that they have lost. So it's a major challenge to the youth, especially the ladies, because most of the time, we are so much emotional. The gents will, when a relationship does not work, they will easily get away, they will get through it. But to us, the ladies, it's quite challenging. We keep on thinking about it, thinking about it all the time, and it affects your results at the end of it. Then the next challenge that the youth do face is desperation for jobs. You know, we all come to university pursuing a course, pursuing a degree, hoping to get a job, and maybe even in the meantime, as you're studying, someone needs a job, of course, to keep you up and, you know, you manage up your other things. However, most people, by the time they reach third year, they're already scared of not getting jobs when they graduate. So, and also this goes hand in hand with, the employment opportunities that are very scarce in Uganda. If you notice, many of our youth out there are unemployed people. And so this desperation is brought about by the economic system that is really on. We do not necessarily have, you know, management systems that are going to manage, you know, that jobs are few and there are so many people graduating, so it becomes a challenge. So you find people applying for jobs in the US. When someone sees an advert on the internet, they are quick to rush on it. However, I must warn you that human trafficking is very common of late, and most of the people that are actively looking for jobs, they are being trafficked to work in countries, especially like Malaysia and some other countries in the East. So you be desperate for a job, and before you know it, someone has given you a job in Malaysia to do this and this, but you do not know the kind of job that you're going to do. You're going to be exploited, so you need to be careful about that, the youth at the university. Then lack of self-esteem and confidence. This mostly also applies to the ladies. You know, you're in class, even when a question is asked, you just fear to put up your hand to mention a point, just because you feel, oh, maybe my neighbor is looking at me, maybe I'm not going to give the right answer. But I would wish to challenge you youth out there, that whatever has brought you to the university, be it you've given a right answer, and at university there is no right or wrong answer. It just depends on how you debate about with your point. So do not sit back and you're like, I do not have the confidence. Please do develop the confidence, because all of us keep learning. And you might think that the people around you are better than you, yet actually you're better than them. So gain the self-confidence and have the esteem. I usually love myself so much. You know, when you don't love yourself, you cannot give love to other people, and you need to build that confidence because it will take you places. Then usually we also have inadequate learning facilities, like when you visit our laboratories down there, the computer labs. They're not enough for people, and the facilities are not really very good. Then balancing between academics and social life. When you come to university, most of us tend to think about more of the social life and leave aside the academics. You know, we come, you're very excited. So these are some of the challenges that the youth face when they reach the university. Then, this is very important, the attitude of the staff. You know, some staff members, I love Leadership Center so much. You know, when you go to Leadership Center, just the ambience that they give you is very nice. You know, they're going to welcome you. Please do have a seat. How may we help you? This and this and this. But that is not the case in all other offices. How I wish all the staff would copy that attitude, you know? When someone comes in and they are clients, especially the first years, they don't know these things. So they expect you to guide them, they expect you to show them, I mean, give them a sense of belonging, you know? Even when they don't know, they will feel that they know. So the staff members, please, the attitude should change. Yes, then I will talk about the possible solutions to some of the problems that I've mentioned. Of course, there are so many challenges that come to university. The lucky ones who have been to rich families and were able to be taken to schools that teachers really chase after you, and you get the 25 and the 26, and the 24s and the rest, and you're able to come on government sponsorship, you're very lucky. However, there are people down deep in the villages, except for those that come on district quota system and maybe the sports and the rest of it. We find that the challenge is with tuition. Now, you notice most of these people that come from the poor backgrounds are the ones that are not on government sponsorship. So they struggle so much with the issue of tuition, and it's really challenging. It's so challenging for these people. And sometimes I just step in their shoes, I'm like, oh my God, it's too much. If you're a young person, most of the time you're going to go into these offices, people are going to tell you that we need 5 years of experience, but if you do not employ me and I get the experience, where else do you expect me to get the experience? So I want to thank you very much because we've brought in a skills development program. It helps you to acquire the needed skills so that even if you're not to look for a job, at least you can apply the skills to sustain you as you look for a job. So be security conscious as we do our things. I talked about safety and security. Among the challenges, there are so many conmen around the university because we do not wear a uniform, and so we do not know who is who. So you need to be very conscious about your security. Even the people that you might think are your close friends could actually not be your close friends. They could be after something else. So you need to be very conscious about your security. And then talent building. Some people reap big from their talent. When you're talented, let's say I'm singing and doing something, handcraft, like Miss Victoria is very good at handcraft. So develop your talent. If you're good at doing something, please take it on. Do not just let your talent die. Because it will work for you. I've seen footballers, they are reaping big from their talent. Not because, and then engage in sports activities. This can also help you for your health. Like I talked about the health complications and other things. It will help you with your health. Then get friends who matter. You do not everyone has to be your friend. You could also attend seminars, trainings, and conferences. I'm glad we are having this. You may have to meet people that are very important, and these people could give you jobs. You don't know, this can give you an opportunity like you've not spoken to the principal before, so you have the chance. At least here he's available. You could just go talk to him. You know, he gets to know you, you get to know him, you get contacts from important people. Networking is the thing to go. It's a solution to unemployment. So you never know, tomorrow you might get a call from Miss Maggie Chigozi. I'm sorry, she has already gone. But you need to interact with such people, and the only way you can interact with them is through attending such conferences and seminars. Then you also need to program yourself. That comes hand in hand with time management. Then most importantly, when we are at the university, we have gone there for our academics. When you get your first class degree, the jobs will look for you. Most of the times we give ourselves a headache. You know, you come to university and you lose your focus, and then you start complaining about how you don't have a job. Get a first class, a job will look for you. You will not have to look for a job. I thank you very much. Once again, my name is Acaq Pasquine, the first female guild president of Makerere University Business School. I welcome all of you. Yes, thank you.
Excellency, can I really have anything to add on that? No. At this juncture, I would love to introduce Colonel Felix Mutini Kulaigye, the Chief Political Commissar, UPDF. He has a master's degree in economic policy and planning from MOOC, the postgraduate diploma, strategic studies, the University of Nairobi, the Bachelor of Arts in Education from Makerere University, and he's going to give us what he has about the youth as the backbone of the army. As I've already told you, the UN has a different definition, the Commonwealth has a different definition of the youth, and Uganda, as per the National Youth Statute of 1993, defines the youth as all young persons between the age of 18 and 30. So he's going to give us what he has in line with all those as the backbone of the army. You're most welcome, the political commissar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm a bit unfavored because I'm following two young ladies with very good English. Mine did not go through the nursery, so bear with me. I came in when the issues of the gender roles were being discussed. And let me tell you a story. One day, a man felt he was overworking and his wife was doing nothing. So he prayed to God. He said, God, I am always the one doing the working, I do for money, I do what? Could you change so that my wife could also do what I do and I do what she does? And you know, God is very, very good. She listened and changed him. So by morning, the man was the woman. He bathed the children, did prepared breakfast. To cut the long, I don't want to go into the long story, but by 10 p.m., she was simply finished.
10 p.m.
And as you know, there was still another role to play. So by morning, he was asking God to change him back. God said, it's okay, I'll change you back, but you have to wait for another 9 months because you conceived last night. My presentation is, if I may take it back, okay? That's okay. My topic is the youth as backbone of the army. Why the leadership center thought I should discuss that. They think maybe being a soldier, that's the best I could handle. But it's okay. It's my honor and privilege to do so. And I like mentoring youth as a hobby. The other hobby is reading. My third hobby is counseling the married. Because I believe the stability of a country is the aggregate stability of homes. You cannot pretend to have stability by shooting bullets when actually wars are taking place in the bedrooms. The purpose of the army is to preserve the peace and security and provide for the defense of the country. That is the general understanding. But then you may ask yourself, what about a small country like Lesotho that is sandwiched by South Africa? Why should they have an army? Or Swaziland? It also should support national policy, implement national objectives, and overcome any nations responsible for violent acts that may jeopardize the peace and security of the country in question. The army does this by organizing, equipping, and training forces for the conduct of prompt and sustained combat operations on land. What about the air? That's for the Air Force. I was told the army. So for the purposes of maybe enlightenment, if you want to talk about soldiers, then you talk about the military. That will include the Navy or Marine, and the Air Force, and then the Army. So the Army are those who fight on land alone. And I followed it from that angle strictly. That would be my scope. Yesterday, somebody was asking me that we soldiers do things the other way around. Somebody mentioned this is aim, and then the scope after. You do the introduction, and then you come to the scope. What's this? I said, well, that's how we are trained at staff college. You introduce, then you give the scope of what you're going to cover. Our main business is war. As Grace Akolo said, for us, we are trained to kill. Unlike the police, she didn't give the exact explanation. The police is trained to maintain law and order. So that's why they must shoot in the air. For me, the day my gun comes out, the body must go down. So that's why you never see my gun. If my gun comes out, the body will go down. Because if I shoot, the accountability for my bullet is a dead body. Now this dead body must have been armed. So if I shoot somebody who is not armed, I should be court-martialed. So here is a very tricky situation. The more reason we travel with our names. Should you hear anything, they know who did it. So if you see a soldier without his name tag on the chest, ask him or her, why don't you have your name tag? It's part of the uniform. So war is waged only with vigor, decision, and unshaken will. One must not grope or hesitate. A military leader must possess as much character as intellect. Men who have a great deal of intellect and little character are the least suited for war. They are like a ship whose masts are out of proportion to the ballast. It is preferable to have much character and little intellect. Those men whose intellect is mediocre